So welcome everyone. First, I wanted to note that this webinar will be recorded and will be used in the future at online capacity building training toolbox or at the project outputs and the mutual learning process dissemination. So I need to tell you for the GDPR reasons. So if you have any object, because it will be also shared in our YouTube channel or at the project website. So please let me know if you don't want to share your presentation at any time and we can delete it. So we have so many interesting subjects. First will be the financial and technical support to municipalities and SMEs and local regional financing initiatives for energy refurbishment of the public and private building stock. So if I'm right, the first presenter will be Mr. Mateusz Kruk from the Mazovia region. So I would like to give the floor for you.
Thank you very much. So maybe I will share my screen if I can, of course.
Thank you. Just could you please be a little louder? It's
okay.
Turn up the volume a little.
Right now it's better.
Oh, not much, but I will. Okay.
Mateusz, you have to shout very loudly because it's very, we cannot hear you well.
Yeah. Okay. So right now maybe it's better. I didn't understand. So yeah, thank you very much, Janeta. So maybe can I share my screen right now to see my presentation? So let me. So can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
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 So I will start the presentation right now. So welcome everyone on my presentation on financial and technical support to municipalities regarding renewable energy sources and energy efficiency project development. Presentation will show the whole procedure carried out by MAE to fully execute the energy efficiency projects, improvement of the buildings and areas related projects. So let's start from the whole expertise which MAE have in profile, and it's directed to the local entities. We can divide it on four separate divisions, which conclude, of course, financial assistance, which is comprehensive support for obtaining domestic and European Union funds, energy assistance, which is comprehensive technical and conceptual support aimed at identifying appropriate solutions to improve energy efficiency and energy stability in the region. The third is energy management, that concludes the proposing of technical solutions that do not change the energy performance of the building in order to improve economic and energy indicators. And the last one is the promotion and education, which also includes the promotion of renewable energy sources and energy efficiency for various agro goods from local government to primary school students. As I said, I didn't say that, but the four ingredients can be used together in complex assistance for municipalities and small and middle enterprises to elaborate project thoroughly. And as I mentioned, as part of the comprehensive cooperation with municipalities are 6 stages, which starts from energy analysis to full implementation of the project. The first stage is energy analysis, which is about the execution of energy audit. which is basis for future projects. Of course, scope can be wider, and the preparation of document will be different, but will include all the information which will be needed or will be required to analyze the needs of the municipalities, and will be beneficial to improve the energy efficiency. As I also noted in the slide, there's also for the wider scale, which those documents are for the larger scale, which has a low emission economy plans can be aimed for the full scope of the given municipality, for example, for the many buildings. The second stage is a financial consulting assistance, which continue works executed in energy analysis. And on the basis of this, optimal energy improvements will be suggested to the given municipality. MAE helps them in obtaining a subsidy to finance the project. In the stage, MAE develops application documentation, which economic analysis, feasibility study, and other important documentation which the call requires. MAE during the whole call is the representative of the municipality or is the assistant of the entity until the funding is obtained by the municipality. The third stage is the public procurement consulting. MAE prepares whole technical documentation and complete tender documentation to choose in a proper way the contractor of project. There are the depending on the type of the projects, MAE proposes various solutions and conduct the tender so that the technical conditions coincide with what was present in the technical documentation and application documentation in the grant application. It's important to switch all the two parts together because we have to have consistency between the technical aspects and the aspects which are in the application forms. So MAE oversees the whole process and indicate to the entity which devices technology are appropriate for implementation and are compatible with the subject of the tender. The fourth of the 6 stages is technical supervision, which is done during the material scope of the project. If MAE is chosen to act on investor's supervision, which is equal the technical supervision, of course, over the project. The stage is about getting sure that all the works done within the project complies with the relevant standards, regulations, technical documentation prepared under the tender. So to do that, MAE have a lot of qualified supervision inspectors from the all industries which are related to the whole scope of this project. For example, if the project contains the exchange of the heating sources, so we use the sanitary supervision. If it's thermomodernization, we use mostly construction inspectors, etc. So let's go to the further stage, which is promotional and educational activities. And those activities are mostly obligatory from the calls, so we do have to just execute those actions, especially within the scope of the project, increasing energy efficiency and using renewable energy sources. For those actions, MAE prepares various campaigns like meetings with residents or school students. And the last stage of the whole process is the project finalization. And MAE is an advisor in that process and helps entities to financially and energy settle the project. MAE provides full support in order to reimburse cost of the project, as well as support in prepared documentation to achieve the effects. And that document in mostly 99% is the exposed energy audit, as you see. And in the whole process of implement the project, MAE also is an advisor for obtaining partial payments for municipalities. And as I can conclude all of that, these are the all stages that provide the full assistance from application to the finalization of the project. And I think the whole matrix, the whole scheme that I shared there, are really important to fully develop in the proper way the whole project, which is about the increase the energy efficiency. So these but I only said that about the municipalities, but there are also other groups that we are helping to get the subsidies, and these groups are municipalities, like I said, SMEs, medical entities, schools, and churches. And for the entities I mentioned, funds most often are funds from, and one that we mostly use is for Mazovia regional operation program, and it's for municipalities, powiats, public entities like hospitals, churches, museums, and it's mostly for increased energy efficiency and use renewable energy sources. And co-financing is up to 80% of eligible costs for every entity. Of course, are other funds that we are using, and second that is mostly used also is for municipalities also is a national fund for environmental protection and water management. And the other entities are church legal entities, museums, hospitals, cultural buildings. There are also money can be provided by using the loans, which are of 100% of eligible cost mostly, and can be by subsidized, and it's up to 95% of co-financing of eligible costs. Of course, it's for not all of the entities that I pointed out right there, but for the most of them. The next is provisional fund for environmental protection and water management, and it's for municipalities, but it's used for not many cases. And the two last one are Norwegian funds and the European Economic Area Financial Mechanism, and there we also can use for thermal modernization of public buildings, and also for educational activities. Last one is PRON, and it's for medical centers, nursing homes, etc., to execute the construction actions to build a better infrastructure for sick or disabled people, and it's co-financed to up to 30% of eligible costs. The last element of presentation is outlook on the scope of the building refurbishment and assistance from MAE to execute it properly. For this matter, MAE can develop following documents, and the first document is energy audit or energy performance to present various ways to introduce improvements like modernization of heat source. Modernization of heat source will be kind of an example of how more refined in every document this action will be. So in every document after energy audit, I will show how every document is more refined to show exactly how the work should be done. So afterwards of elaborating, executing energy audit is a functional and utility program, which is, like I said, more refined document and shows the general principles of the project and show how should work be carried out. This document shows required parameters of materials, like it's showed, devices which should which use materials. Devices should meet all the requirements which are shown in functional and utility program. Of course, a good example for modernization of the heat source will be, as seen beneath, replacing an ineffective boiler with a gas boiler. And that should indicate, for example, minimum parameters such as rated power, efficiency, heating power at given temperature, energy class, gas tank capacity, and its location in the field. And the final and the more refined document, of course, is construction design or detailed design. And that document shows the complete specifics of the project, and is also additional to this document full drawing documentation. Those documents show how properly installed device or perform the thermomodernization activities. Construction design consists of selected fittings, devices. It should be attached also catalog cards of the devices that are we using, for example, in modernization of the boiler. We should point out the specific device that we are using for the boiler. It also should have a site plan and conceptual drawings. And to the construction designs are commonly attached two documents, which are pointed out are bill of quantities and investor cost estimate for construction works. These documents are linked with each other because most investor cost estimate for construction works is elaborated on the basis of the bill of quantities. So at the beginning, we should prepare the bill of quantities to see the list of the work that must be performed as part of the project, with the values and the method of the calculation. And as we see, there is a example of it: installation of pipelines made of polyethylene pipes with a nominal diameter of 32 millimeters. And on the basis of this is made a calculation. It's broke down into the cost of labor and use of the fixed assets. So of course, with these documents, we can carry out all the works in the way that investor foreseen. And all these documents are involved in the whole scheme that I presented to the municipalities on the stage of the procurement, on the stage of technical supervision, and etc., etc. Of course, to do those activities must be done. Many entities needs a finance, so and many entities looking for our assistance only just to have a financing. As we see, for this building refurbishment, we can have a financing from those methods. As we see, we can subsidize from national funds, which were brought a few slides before, sorry. And these funds are the most popular. There are also loans from the domestic funds, which are also used when entities have their own financing, but they want to expand it on longer period. Commonly, loans are combined with subsidies. Physical people can also apply for funds to energy refurbish their buildings. So for the subsidies and for loans, also physical person can apply for donations or loans. There is also an energy loan, which is a mechanism for small and middle enterprises, which are based only in Mazovia region, and is important ingredient to this whole fund, because acts as formal and content operator in the field of energy as an expert. And this is a low interest fund that can finance small and middle enterprises to do the building refurbishment. Also, there are other kinds of funds, like funds or reimbursement funds, like thermomodernization bonus, which is the smallest allocation for the physical people mostly, and the funds are up to 21% of eligible cost, with inclusion of installment of renewable energy sources, and this bonus is rarely used by the entities. And of course, other types are used, but are not well known by many entities, and those are EPC and public-private partnership. Of course, building energy refurbishment with the whole procedure carried out in MAE standard, of course, with good financing and subsidies, of course, can bring swift effects and financial benefits. I think this approach, this approach to energy, to increasing energy efficiency and carrying out thermal modernization activities in Mazovia is a good standard, and those comprehensive implementations of the projects will contribute to maximize the effects of these projects. So this will be everything from me. Thank you very much for your time. If there are any questions, please ask them right now.
Thank you very much. So if you have any question, just please ask. You don't need to raise your hands or other.
Okay, hello, I have a question. I'm Zsófia Pej from Hungary. I will be the next speaker as far as I know, but until I have just one question. Do you, Mateusz, also support somehow the EPC and PPP projects in your region as well?
Yes, we also do that, but this is in the smaller case, because there are not many entities that are coming for our help, of course. But we also use that opportunity also to help them in those projects when they use PPP or EPC. But I don't include that help or the kind of the scheme, but the scheme is the similar, like we use for the subsidizing or loaning the funds from these funds, which I already said during the presentation. Of course, we are using the PC and PP, but in the there are smaller cases of this. That's all.
May I also jump in with a question, Veronica?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Well, at least two small questions. The first is just to get a little bit about the feeling of municipality public buildings among the energy refurbishment of building. Is this a top priority in Poland nowadays for municipalities, or it is something that okay, can be taken into consideration when planning investment? I mean, you have do you have to push municipalities to go in this direction, or is there a big demand? And the second question could be, have you ever experienced any kind of aggregation of demand in municipalities? This means if municipalities are able to work together and join their efforts for enlarging, let me say, the pipeline of investment, pulling together buildings belonging to different administrations.
For the first question, the termination of public buildings is really common, and that thing is very important for entities like municipalities and powiats in Mazovia region, and they're on their own seeking for our expertise and our help. And we have a call lately, and there was a lot of application for the funds, and allocation was on this, and the amount of the investment which would be overseen the project was 10 times bigger than the allocation of the whole call. So the needs of the public buildings are high, and the municipalities looks for the subsidizing and for these projects, and for optimizing and increasing energy efficiency on their own. And for the second question, yes, in our experience, we have projects which contains 4 different municipalities, but there is also one thing, because the thermomodernization was linked with the renewable energy sources. So thermomodernization as one separate project didn't well executed, but with the installment of renewable energy sources on the private buildings, yes, we have the 4 different partners which switched together and did one pipeline to elaborate this project. So there are a few cases that that projects were elaborated in that way. Okay, that's everything.
Thank you. Sorry, just hurry up, but I would like to give the floor to Miss Zsófia Pej. I think she will be sharing a lot of interesting information about the EPC or crowdfunding further. So,
thank you very much, Vera. And maybe now, no, I can't share my screen while Marcus is sharing, so please, Mateusz, stop sharing. Yeah, okay, thank you. Now it seems working. I hope that you can see now my screen with my presentation. Yeah. So yes, I'm representing another project of Interreg Central Europe program. It's called eCentra project, and I am representing also one of the partners of this project, Energia Group Climate Policy Institute from Hungary. This project is also maybe kind of yours, I mean the prospect. And as you know, addressing the poor energy performance of public buildings are at the core of the European Union's Energy Efficiency Directive and the EPBD but it is also becoming a growing financial issue in Central European countries. That's why, in order to address this issue, is Centra project aimed to support key stakeholders in better understanding benefits of nearly zero energy buildings, and also to support them better the underutilized financing form, PPP, EPC, and CF. These are nice letter words, meaning the public-private partnership, the energy performance contracting, and the crowdfunding. So these are the financing form which we are dealing with in this project. This here on this slide, you will see the main goals and activities of the project, because we are now quite by the end of our project. So the main activities are finalized. So as I said, the main goal was to deploy and promote these innovative financing schemes. I don't know whether you think that they are innovative or not, but when we are talking about public building refurbishments, they are quite innovative or underused. This is sure. We want to promote the nearly zero energy performance buildings. I mean, not just do what is really needed, but to refurbish the public buildings at a higher level. In our project, we have also 3 pilot projects in Hungary, in Slovenia, and in Croatia. I will present you the lessons learned from these pilots. They are not fully finished, but by the end of the project and of the whole process. Yeah, as all project, we also need to communicate about our findings and our activities, and that's why I'm here also. And at this point, let me thank you to give me the possibility to present our topics to you. Yeah, when we are talking about the activities, these are focused around the support to nearly zero refurbishments and the development of local strategies, including a roadmap how to turn public buildings into NZEF until 2030. We also developed a tool for this technical background for the calculations of these roadmaps. We call this EPC tool. I will share also the link where you can find it, and also you can use it if you find it a helpful tool for you. And we also perform trainings where we build capacities at local public authorities on this topic. I mean, also the legislative background of nearly zero energy buildings, also the technical background, and also about the financing possibilities. And last but not least, the use of this EPC tool. And some interesting outputs are already finalized, and you can find them at our website. You can see on my slide. These are, for example, these are not all of our outputs, but those that I find interesting for you. For example, these NZEF case studies for reference public buildings, these were gathered in 2018, so 2 years before. Also, we developed a report on NZEF initiatives from the Central European region. This means these initiatives either financing possibilities or calculation tools or some training possibilities on this topic. We also analyzed the national and regional or local renovation strategies, meaning the strategies of the pilot countries and the pilot municipalities. This is also an older story, but maybe interesting. Then we gathered and analyzed the existing tools for the renovation of buildings. I mean, in every country, a couple of such tools, either Excel-based or online tools, are available, and we analyzed them for which purpose they are good to use, and how should we develop our EPC tool to give something something else, something more useful for our target group. Our main target group, maybe it's not clear yet, the local public authorities, so not the energetic engineers and very technical experts, but those who are working at cities and who are trying to renovate public buildings. Also, we analyzed these financing schemes for deep renovation of public buildings. We made this 2 times, once in 2018, and the second round of analysis or assessment was in this year, and these results will be presented now in a few minutes. What is another new and interesting output is the step-by-step guide on how to turn public buildings into NZEB. This is a leaflet, so a very, very simple deliverable, with nice graphics, thanks to our partner Iraq. And it is available not only in English, but also in Slovenian, Croatian, and Hungarian. So if you have capacities, then you can revise this, and I hope that you will find it useful. And the assessment of policy framework in Central European partner countries for introduction of these new financing schemes. This is what I will talk about now, a second round of assessment. As I mentioned, the 3 financing forms we assessed, these are on my slide, the public-private partnership. You can see there the definitions. I won't repeat them. Maybe you already know them or not really. But while I'm talking, you can just read it, and maybe, and also you can ask if something is not clear. Then please feel free to interrupt me and ask questions. And some results of our assessment. This map is showing the number of PPP projects carried out in a longer term in the European Union's countries. The number of PPP is also shows a nice figure that the United Kingdom is so deep green. But also on the next slide, we will see the volume of these projects on the same horizon. So here the coloring is a bit different, and the white countries are those who are not really used to utilize this financing form. Then a few words about the energy performance contracting. This table shows you the expected developments of the EPC sectors in the Central European countries. These are not so these are expectations from 2020 2017. Maybe now, 3 years later, we can somehow say if they were realistic expectations or not really realistic. But you can see that some countries in Central Europe are really forerunners. For example, Austria and also Italy. We also have partners in Central Project from these two countries, so they can support the committed, or how can I say, those who are not really not the best in these financing forms. For example, Hungary. So we unfortunately we can't really benefit from this contracting form, because we have very low energy prices, and that's why that's one reason for which this is not really working in Hungary. Okay, maybe you could already revise this table, and I just go ahead. This map about the annual estimated EPC projects per country. It is also interesting. Spain, for example, you can see there are a huge amount of EPC projects per year, and also some foreigners, Italy, France, and also Germany, and the United Kingdom is in the first lines. But the major part of the Central Europe is not in this very good situation. We are just backrunners, or how can I say? We really wanted with our project to boost somehow this process in our countries, but as I will present, it's not a success story. So we really faced a lot of difficulties, and the barriers are a kind of problems which we are at project level not able to tackle. What is maybe a nice table about the crowdfunding is that it seems that the market volume on this chart shows that this is a financing form which seems to be boosted and to be used in a better and better way. Maybe you know that there are several forms of crowdfunding. On the webpage of the Center project, you can also find the document with the explanation of this financing form, and it's quite good. It gives a quite good overview. So unfortunately, in Hungary or on these premature markets, only the simplest ways of crowdfunding are used, and the complicated versions are absolutely not tackled, where the adequate legislation is not existing, for example, in Hungary. In this report, what I'm talking about, you will find a detailed assessment on the legal frameworks and the market maturities of these financing forms in the East Central partner countries. You see the list, so Austria, Italy, Croatia, Slovenia, and Hungary. And also comparison between the situation in 2018 and 2020 we made this assessment at the beginning of the project, and now we repeated it in a similar way by the end of our project, and that's why we can make a comparison. And also, regarding each target country, you can find summarizing table where we assume the advantages, the opportunities, and the barriers of these three financing forms regarding each country. So if you need some inputs about our data, then you can find in this document. And also at this point, I ask you, if you have any similar documents regarding your countries, then please share with us, because now we are working on a joint strategy for the wider implementation of these financing forms. And now we are gathering all relevant and existing assessments or documents or evaluations around these topics. And now about the three pilot projects of eCentral projects. The one is about the public-private partnership, so, and in Croatia. So a municipality, Croatian municipality, Sveta Nedelja, is involved in the project, and the plan was to refurbish kindergarten to NZEB using the PPP construction. But this original plan has failed, let's say failed, because the local public authority has turned off to use the PPP model, and now the project, so the refurbishment is ongoing, but not using the PPP model, but just using the public money for the refurbishment. But two other municipalities have been involved to demonstrate the refurbishment project with the PPP model and the design, build, finance PPP model. So where the private body will also design and build and finance the project. These two projects are with 8 and 11 million euros of investment, and the nearly zero target requirements are or at first hand the maximized energy consumption, which is 55 kilowatt hours per square meter per year, and the other requirement is to use 100% of renewable energy. So these are ongoing projects, but it seems that they will be financed luckily. Regarding the Hungarian case, sorry, is there a question?
No, you just only 1 minute left.
Okay, 1 minute and 1 slide, it's okay. So the Hungarian pilot is also kind of this case that the selected building for the energy performance contracting refurbishments was failed. It was a small building, partly already refurbished. The negotiations with the ESCO company were very, very long, and the involvement of additional buildings became necessary to ensure a proper return. But the newly selected buildings were also not perfect. And several months of downtime also caused some problems due to the municipal elections last year. And as I said, in Hungary, we have very low energy prices, so it is very difficult to put together an acceptable building package for ESCO companies. The third pilot case is in Velenje, Slovenia. This is the first case when in Slovenian municipalities they tried to use a crowdfunding model for public building refurbishments. And this was a brand new story for them. The process of crowdfunding was met with a skepticism also. And despite a very well prepared campaign, the campaign failed to reach the pledged amount of money to be raised. But also they had a positive surprise. It was the good response of citizens to this whole story. So these are our experiences, not success stories and not very good and easy stories, but I think that all experiences are useful to share, and really hope that these first steps can ease the way to other municipalities in that way. We also will have some other things to come by the end of the project. Under this link, you can find that EPC tool that I was talking about, and around February 2021, we will come up with a joint strategy for wider implementation of these innovative financing schemes. Also, a position paper and the final conference will be done. So if you are interested, then just visit our website, and you're welcome with any information, or if you can attend our final conference also. So thank you for the attention, and sorry for maybe having a couple of few other minutes than I had.
Thank you. The most interesting part was the last slide, so I didn't want to interrupt, but we have to move on. Anyone has a question to Zsófia? It's not easy subject. I think we will have later on regarding, mainly it's the EPC in Hungary, because I have so many questions that I don't want to do it now. So thank you again, and the next presentation will be held by, if I'm right, Silvio and Stefano. If you can start it.
Okay, thank you. I will start, then the floor will go to Silvio. I don't know if you can see, if I can share the screen. You see my screen?
Yes, it's coming. Good.
Okay, so I start. Okay. So today I will give you some informations about our managing of ERDF funds. Our region, Piedmont region, had a total amount of ERDF fund equal to almost 1 billion of euros. And our region chose to concentrate on 6 main priorities. We call them axes. One of them is sustainable energy. And the axis for sustainable energy was the second one by resources. In fact, the total amount was 193 million of euros. And we had 2 main priorities. The priority 4B was for enterprises, and the priority 4C was for public buildings and public infrastructures. And all the calls of the 2 axes are now closed because the money are over. But nowadays we have some additional budget coming from the public procurement procedures, and we are currently deciding how to use it and how to allocate it. As you see, every priority is split into one or more actions. The action for enterprises has a total amount of resources equal to 97 million euros. Then nearly 60 million euros were for buildings and nearly 19 for street lighting systems. Let's see some information about the call for enterprises. The call was opened in 2016. It was recasted this year, and the beneficiaries were small, medium, and large enterprises. Not all the activities were included. We gave them an 80% loan and 20% grant. With a maximum funding intensity, which was based on the enterprise dimension. The call included two main lines. The first one was for energy efficiency in plants, including, for instance, CHP, or energy efficiency in manufacturing processes, energy efficiency in buildings, the installation of more efficient components and systems, and the installation of new high efficiency production lines. The second line was for the installation of RES systems. We had some specific technical requirements that were based on the category of beneficiary or interventions. For instance, they had to reach some specific energy saving or CO2 emission saving level per euro invested. This data is not refreshed. In fact, you see that the total number of enterprises funded is 200, but I think that nowadays we are at 300. And here there are some indicators about concerning the enterprises calls. As you can see, we had a very high number of projects and a very high total energy saving with different ratio of kilowatt hours per euro, depending on the nature of the intervention. And the most successful under this point of view was CHP. Now, I'm sorry. Okay, I tried to. And now we have a look to the actions for buildings. For buildings, there were two actions. The first one was for energy efficiency in buildings, and you can see some kinds of interventions like thermal insulation, insulating glazing, condensing boilers, ladder ramping, and so on. And the second action was for the RES system installation in buildings. You see that for biomass boilers, we had some huge restrictions that are due to a critical air quality in Piedmont region plains. In fact, nowadays we have an infringement proceeding on this topic. For public buildings, we opened in total 4 calls that were for different categories of beneficiaries. The calls were opened in 2017, 2018. Now they are closed. The first one was for small public local authorities. That means municipalities which has a population lower than 500. I don't remember.
I would say 1,000 5,000.
5,000. The second one is for large public local authorities and the provinces and the Turin metropolitan area. The third one is for public housing sector, and the fourth for hospitals. Let me say that the call I like the most is the one for public housing, because we are speaking about some medium-sized apartment blocks with poor comfort, a very low quality. And the requirement was to transform them, to deeply renovate them, and to transform them into NZEB. So they are very pilot projects, because during the works, people had to move away. So they keep on living into while the works go on. The target of these calls were existing and heated public buildings with a low or medium envelope quality. And we gave them grants from 80 to 90% of maximum intensity. They also needed to make a seismic assessment of their buildings and to apply sustainability protocols and environmental criteria. The main energy requirement was that the payback time of the interventions is not to be too high. So every euro invested had to generate at least 0.4 kilowatt hour or energy saving. And there is a summarizing table of the main indicators. As you can see, we had 158 buildings participating with different average energy saving, but this energy saving were very, very high, especially in the call for the housing sector. And we have ratios of kilowatt per hour per euro invested that are lower than the call for enterprises, but we can say that they are high if we compare them with the minimum requirements. The last action I want to talk to you is the one for street lighting. The call was opened in 2018 with a total funds of 18 million of euros. The target were existing street lighting systems. The beneficiaries had to achieve a minimum 40% electricity saving. This is not so difficult with the technologies we had. So almost everyone had relamping or retrofitting with LED systems. And if this energy saving is reached, they also can install some smart system using the street light infrastructure. And we also set a maximum cost, 800 euro per lamppost. As you can see in this table, a lot of municipalities participated, because we had 133 operations submitted with an average cost per lamp that was 700, and an average energy saving about 60%. Compared with the existing situation. In the 43% of the total operations, the beneficiary will also install some smart systems. As we have seen that the most chosen smart systems were video surveillance and pollution or weather sensors and digital information panels. They were free to choose the system they want. In conclusion, I would like to give you to focus on some key points coming from our experience. These calls we activated on our ROP were very complex because participants found them interesting but characterized by a too high level of bureaucracy. So the challenge for the future is to make them more simple for users. Anyway, policymakers were very interested in. We had a very high energy saving achieved. That means that we have all the technology and the knowledge to deeply renovate our building stock. This is the mission for our next ROP program, where the public buildings will play a key role. We have also seen that an accurate energy audit, which was compulsory to participate to the course, is always a must, because especially when we speak about public fundings, we have to reach the best level of cost-effective renovation. I will say that the requirements we put into our course were enough. We have seen that the level of professionals, specialization in energy designing, still has to be improved by proper training activities to emphasize the participation to these and other programs. As to the technical details, we have seen that the most installed heating and cooling system were air condensed heat pumps, sometimes due to local climate conditions with a backup condensing boiler. This is a technology, the heat pumps are a technology on which we give a key role in the next year in our energy plan. And in public buildings where also PV systems were installed, we get zero local emission buildings. This is particularly interesting in our region. We can say that synergy with other public funds is possible, and it was nearly always used by participants, but sometimes it is difficult to integrate different public fundings. And so for the next ROP program, in the next 7 years, we have to reach a higher level of integration between ERDF and national funds. We also saw that the seismic quality of target building is very low. This is a big problem in Italy, not especially in our region, but this is surely a problem, and the lack of public resources limits our renovation under this point of view. One thing that I'd like to underline is that in every call we require monitoring for a 5 years period after the works are finished. And our goal is to always verify the effective saving through the analysis of disposable real data. Because one thing is the energy performance you calculate. One thing is the energy performance you really reach in the daily use of your buildings. And so we want to give a particular attention to this. And last but not least, EPCs, which we try to stimulate, including them as a way to make the works, were only used by one beneficiary among hundreds. I think that there are still too many administrative barriers. So I finish, and Silvio, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. So let's see if I can share my screen. Maybe you have to stop sharing.
Okay.
And Veronica, I hope I have 5 minutes for my presentation.
Yes.
I'll try not to take more. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so as Stefano said, it was not really feasible to merge and to match this the use of APC with the ERDF funds, but we did some. We implemented some very interesting projects using APC and PPP without using ERDF. So we promoted it with side projects. And the scheme, I have to be brief. So we implemented APC in a private-public partnership contest, which means that we had to pay a lot of attention to the risk allocation. So technical, financial, and construction risks and performance risk had to be clearly allocated on private investors. And just to say that less energy savings would be achieved in the contract during the implementation of the scheme, and less payback should be achieved by the ESCO itself. I want to stress that what we try to do is to work on the basis of the aggregation of demand. So what we did is to bundle several buildings together and make a joint procurement involving several municipalities at a glance in the same stage. So what we did is to try to involve several municipalities in this scheme. We selected some buildings belonging to different municipalities and we created a bundle. This would have been the aim of the procurement that should be launched as a joint procurement procedure. And the scheme is that we have this bundling formed by different municipalities. You can see here in the picture. And the next stage is to sign a kind of partnership agreement among them and to appoint one lead partner. Let me say this could be one of the member of the bundling or super municipality authority, let me say, like a province or like a contracting authority that could launch the joint procurement to select the ESCO, the private investors. And then what happened after the awarding procedure, we have a framework contract signed with the lead partner, and then as many APC contracts as the number of municipalities involved. So if we have, for example, 4 municipalities in the bundling, at the end we have 4 different APC contracts based on one single public procurement procedure. This was the scheme that we applied, and we had some experience along the past 5 years, let me say. Some of them were successful and some of them were a failure, as also Sophie already presented. It's very difficult to always be successful in this procedure, but we had the possibility to have some good examples. I don't have time to go into all of them, so I selected one, which is the most successful, I would say. It's an energy renovation of 18 public buildings belonging to 5 different municipalities. These were mainly schools and some office buildings. And we signed an energy performance contract of 13 years of duration. And the first year was to implement the works, and then 12 years for the maintenance of the contract and the buildings, of course. And the awarded ESCO has been the Bosch Energy Solution Italy, so it was a big company. The overall investment in energy efficiency was roughly 2.5 million euro plus VAT. And we had a guaranteed savings of about 61% with a shared system in case of overperformance. So in case of more than 61% of savings, 70% of the extra saving would go to the ESCO and 30% to the municipality. And we made some dissemination based on these buildings, also because one of these bundling was one of the first nearly zero energy building implemented in Piemonte. So we had the possibility to make some promotion. Here you can see some rough numbers about the savings achieved. So in the first column here, you see results of energy savings during the construction works. So in the first year, and you can see here quite big numbers of energy savings, and this we can say is just the fine tuning of the maintenance according to the baseline that was put in the tender. But after 1 year, so for the second year, we can say that the results are achieved or overcome in most of the municipalities here. Okay, so we can say this was a good example, very successful for us, and also the municipalities are very happy with that, and so we achieved these results, and we also try to follow up the activities. So just a few points in conclusion. So APC can be a solution. In Italy, the market is developing, even though there are still some bottlenecks and administrative barriers, but maybe this would be eased in the future. And what I want to just stress out is that a project development assistance service is essential. So as already the colleagues from Mazovian agency, they shown that it's very good, and it's very important that that municipalities are supported by a technical structure that can offer them a solution to overcome all the problems. And then the last point is that for me, APC is very important. If we if we move the attention not only to the financial part of the investment, but also to the impact. If we sign a contract where for more than 10 years, energy performance should be monitored, verified, and on the basis of that, fees are going to be paid. Well, we achieve a goal in terms of impact, and we are sure of that. In many cases, we implement investment, but we are not sure that results are achieved in the long term on a long term basis. So I think it's very important also to pay attention to this when we speak about energy performance contract. I think this is my last slide, and I stop sharing. And okay, thank you for attention.
Thank you. Am I right that you think that also a good project bundling is also very important? So if you want EPC, you need to plan.
Yeah, I think this is a key point. This is a part of, let me say, administrative innovation. As in European Commission, they say they are pushing us as a public authority to implement this kind of actions, where we try to put together small municipalities in order to put on the market some more sustainable investment. And but in this bundling activity, it costs a lot of money, because you have a lot of transaction costs, because you have to meet majors, you have to meet the technicians, you have to put together municipalities in the same room, decide together what is the aim of the project, and blah blah blah. So it takes time, and I think public authorities or agencies can play a role in this, because it's very high transaction cost, and the things don't happen by themselves, so you need to spend a lot of effort on there. But it's essential for me.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Question? I think.
Yes, I have a question to Silvio and to Stefano. So I have seen that your calls are supporting technologies like CHP or like photovoltaic. My question is, are you also considering to support emerging technologies like, for example, PVT, so photovoltaic and thermal panels, or like perovskite photovoltaic? So they have not yet an technology readiness of 9, they have lesser. So are you thinking to support of such kind of technologies, or you support only mature technologies?
In this current ROP program, we only had the possibility to support mature technologies. Okay, the challenge was to deeply renovate buildings, but using using mature technologies. In the next ROP program, there will be a huge attention on the most innovative renewable energy technologies. We have this mission. So starting from next year, I think that we will begin to think to calls to specific calls dedicated to this kind of renewable systems.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Maybe if I can complement, if we speak about APC, energy performance contract, the aim and the object of the call, let me say, it's not technology, it's the performance. So we let ESCO and private investors to be free to make their own proposal and make their bid on the basis or their knowledge and their capacity, because the focus is the energy savings. The way you achieve it is something that it's on your own risk. If you implement something that doesn't work, it will be you that will not pay it. It is in the concept, let me say, of energy performance contract. What you pay for is the performance, is not for technology. But okay, it's in any case only mature technology have been installed, of course.
Thank you. So if no more questions, on the next presentation, we will hear about the Green Mine project by Mr. Martin Buchan. If you will be kind and share.
So hi to everyone. It was really pleasant to see all this picture from the public event that Mr. Silvio showed us without the mask. So it was more comfortable and more interesting than this kind of presentations, but
it was the past, it's not the present, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know that. But I hope that it will
be the future. It will be the future for sure.
In very close future again. So this is the one of the most heard word. Can you see my presentation?
Seems so. Yes.
Yes.
So hello to everyone again. My name is Martin Buchan and I came from the county of Split and Dalmatia. I'm working in this project Interreg Mediterranean. I'm the project manager of from the county of Split and Dalmatia. So the name of the project is the Green and Smart Mobility Industry Innovation in Med area. So the Green Mine, the project is from priority axis 1, promotion Mediterranean innovation capacity to develop smart and sustainable growth. Priority 1.1 to increase transnational activity of the innovation cluster and the networks of the key sectors of the Med area. This project is starting from the 1st of February 2018, and it will, in the beginning, it is the prediction of the end of the day, it was 30 of June 2020, but because of the COVID situation, we have 6 months more. And now is expiring date is 31st of the January 2021. The lead partner is CIPRO, development agency from Ferrara, from Italy. So this is some words and the geographical information where I came from. I came from the county of Split in Dalmatia. The population is totally about 454,000 people. The capital city is the city of Split. They have about 175,000 inhabitants. This is territorial structure. We are a regional government. We have 16 cities and 39 municipalities. And this is also geographical subunits about coastal area, islands, and hinterland. The county of Split and Dalmatia working on a lot of different kind of the project. The most important concluded project is Remedio Prismi and Sesvamed from Inter-Mediterranean, CAMSAM, Holistic Solution. It is one FP7 project. Alter Energy Intermodal Energy Supply Easy. It is already passed from the cross-border cooperation between Croatia, Italy, and one of them was Central Europe. And this is the project that we have ongoing activities. It is Sutra Readiness, Step Up, Remedio, Green Mind, Joint SECAP, Sushi Drop, Water Care, E-Citizen, and Fire Spill. I must say that the total value of all EU projects is over 350 million euros. So the Green Mind strengthens the transnational activity of the clusters to support SME systems in explosion and identification market opportunities and tapping the rising demand for green and smart mobility products and services in key mobility sectors such as transport and logistics, automotive, energy, and IT. The project idea was the new approach. It considered green and smart mobility as an industry which has a high growth potential and can be a drive of economic development in the Med area. The green and smart mobility industry will develop as an answer to the increasing need to reduce transport and environmental impacts. You see on the right side, it is the now events that we have in last few weeks. Also, we will have the one of the last conclusion web events now. So if you want, you can join and check all what we do in this project. The project idea was to support public authorities and researcher centers who are developing policy, but also business investing in a green and smart mobility products and services. The green and smart mobility industry is transversal to different sectors: transport and logistics, automotive and the components, in IT technology, energy, and also the finance. The key innovation area is clean fuels and infrastructures, automated vehicles and smart infrastructures, ITS, MaaS, plus business models. The project objective is to foster the innovation capacity of buildings, public and private bodies in the green and smart mobility industry. The transnational activity of the clusters to support SMEs in exploring the market opportunity for green and smart mobility products and services in the Med area by shaping and testing transnational services to SMEs which belong to sectors relevant to the green and smart mobility industry, create a new transnational innovation network, transferring the result of the test services to non-partner clusters in innovation transfer to take up program aimed to sharing knowledge. The objective of the project is operational delivering transnational services to SMEs and stringing transnational activities of clusters. It is 8 Med territorial context: Ferrara in Italy, Thessaloniki in Greece, Andalusia, Smart City Cluster from Spain, and PACA in Istria. It is also a region in Croatia, in Sarajevo from Bosnia and Herzegovina, Podravska in Slovenia, and Split Dalmatia County cooperated to test the new market intelligence, public funding screening, and B2B matchmaking servicing for SMEs. So as I said, the project partnership you can see on the map. I forgot in Toulouse is AFT-Occitanie regional delegation in Toulouse in France. So see the whole partnership here. So what is the green and smart mobility in the partner regions? In partner regions, it is IC technologies, transport infrastructure and services, change of the models, intermodality, smart transport infrastructure passengers, including transport and also the smart cargo. Also, to reduce the impact of the environment through the improved mobility management, optimization of the use of infrastructures and the services, it is demand management, and ITS, intelligent transport system, interconnected and user-related transport systems, safe transport, rationalization of the maintenance and operation cost, and also the system for the reducing of the environmental impacts. So this is the project actions of the pilot 1, that is market intelligence, the pilot 2, and the pilot 3. As I already mentioned, the public funding screening and B2B matching, and sustainable plan through the cluster networking. Now we are developed the transfer model that integrates all these 3 pilot activities. And at the end of the project, we will, for every of these countries, have delivering policy support program to mainstream the project result. And now we implement methods for the accelerating innovation network mobility for the SMEs, and also cooperation with smart and green mobility clusters. So the expected result at the end of the project is in threefold. As it deal with SMEs to become more competitive by supporting them understand the important mechanism of the market and exploring its opening. Also for the regions to reach their strategic goal by contribution of the successful realization of their priorities and specialization strategies, and also for academia and the research to develop the future innovation trajectories in the green and smart mobility field. So this is what we want to achieve. The Green Mind Transnational Innovation Network, it will be opened, new created transnational innovation network of SME, research body, authorities, and the clusters. The Green Mind service test, it consists the deliverable of 3 types of services to more than 200 SMEs in the sector related to the green and smart mobility. Green Mind operational service model, transferable model of the transnational services for SMEs based on pilot result and evaluation of that activity. Also strategic documents, it is a policy-oriented support program consisting of the meeting and policy support documents to improve policy making for SMEs in the green and smart mobility industry. And also these public events as part of the transfer and take-up program, with the clusters organization in the Med area to force the adoption of the service model on transnational SMEs services. So thank you for your attention and enjoying some of the beautiful pictures of the county of Split and Dalmatia, because you're not able to be here, but I hope so, as a colleague from Regione Piemonte said, very soon. And also, if you have some question, it will be glad to answer for them. Thank you again.
Thank you. It's to show us summer pictures and the really nice ones.
It is just small part of our country, but I know also the Italy and also some other countries that all of you are coming from. So I hope so, and I know that you also have very beautiful pictures, especially now in this COVID situation, to see and check again something that you are forgot to see in your country.
Yes.
So if you have any question about this project, it will be glad to answer that.
I hope nobody is shy to ask. I know we are a little bit late, but yeah, it was very interesting. Thank you very much. And we will have a little different subject now about the energy storage technologies and the development of energy communities. And we will hear two presentations. And the first will be by Saxen and Hart. If I'm right, Pio will share us.
Yes, just from some seconds. You should be able to see the presentation, yes?
Perfect.
So, Veronica, as we agree on the peer-to-peer session, I thought I had 1 hour time. So now I shorten my presentation. I hope to finish in 20 minutes, and even if I have a lot of slides. I will give you an overview about energy storage systems. I will try to be not so technical, so you will not see a lot of equations. Some equation I need to depict, but I try to be as not technical as possible. So we will see why we need energy storage system in the future, how energy storage system may be classified, which kind of technology may be used for the decarbonization. And at the end, I will show you some economic aspects which are very important in planning energy storage systems. Most of the information that I'm going to share with you come from our book. So me and Chemek, we have written a book 2 years ago. I have been also for a long time secretary of the SIGRE working group on energy storage system. So I research on storage system since 12 years. So I share with you some of my experience. So I think that I don't know if you are familiar with some terminology. I hope that you know what is power, that you know what is energy capacity. And even if, so power is, just to be simple, if you connect your electric car, if you have an electric car, you take power from the network. And if the power that you connect, you take from the network during the time, that is the energy that you have taken from the network. So it's very important that you understand what is power, what is energy, because the energy storage system are classified according to the power that they can charge and discharge, and according to the energy, so the amount of energy that they can store inside the storage system. Very important is also the efficiency, because all the energy storage system, they don't have 100% efficiency. It means that if I charge, for example, 100 kilowatt hour in my battery, at the end, I don't discharge 100 kilowatt hour, but I discharge something like 80, 75, just to be easy. Because we have some losses. The losses are different. There are electrochemical losses, there are mechanical losses, we may have thermal losses, and such a losses so decrease the energy that I can store inside of the storage systems. Some technology, they have also some self-discharge, so they discharge themselves even if there is not a load. For example, the batteries. And yeah, these are some information that you need to understand. Why we need storage system? I think we have already given the last prospect meeting and a good overview how the storage, how the European sector, European energy sector is changing. We know that by 2050, we aim to decarbonize the power system, which means we aim to generate almost all the electricity and the other energy sources like thermal using renewables. Most of the renewables are volatile, like wind, like sun. Some of them are not volatile, like biomass, for example. So, but for the volatile energy sources, we need also flexibility, which means that if we have a variable generation, we need also to have some component in the network which is able to capture such a such a variability. And energy storage system may be one of the solutions that, or is one of the solutions that we are trying to integrate on the system. So you see how in Germany the system is going to be, I would say, decarbonized. You see how much or how the renewables has been developed in Germany in the last 15 years or more or less, and you see that more and more we have on the network decentralized generators like photovoltaic, like wind parks, or like biomass and geothermal and so on. And as I said before, these technologies, they are generate electricity in a volatile way. So second very important information is that you know that the load that we have is not constant. So we have during the day different peaks and such power, that's or the energy that we consume, is mostly covered by using conventional technologies like nuclear, like coal power plant. They are used as base load. Then there are some other technologies like gas turbine, combined cycle gas turbine, which are used as mean load, and the photovoltaic or the other wind park. Generally, they are used here as base load because they are not controllable. Anyway, since we have a variable load, we need also to balance such a variability, and therefore storage system may be also used and are used already today to control such a variability. In this case, there are the system operator that they may require storage system for better balancing the power and the generation, the power demanded and the power generated. So another reason because we need a storage system is, you see here, we have different prediction. So for photovoltaic and for wind, for renewables, you see how large is the error of forecasting on the day ahead. So you see that if you forecast one day before to generate, for example, 1.5 gigawatt, and then you don't generate it, it is a big problem for the system operator to try to find 1.5, 1.3 gigawatt, which he has forecasted to be generated and then is not fit in the network. So even if in the last years, the forecasting tools are more and more better, they are using artificial intelligence algorithms, but they are not 100% efficient. So we have still now prediction error, which can range from the condition in which the technology is installed. For example, the photovoltaic installed in Germany has a different error, forecasting error, if the same photovoltaic plant is installed on the Sahara Desert, because the winter conditions are different. Therefore, in Germany, we have for one day before, the day ahead, for forecasting the photovoltaic, something like 18% forecasting error. For wind is better, so we have about 12%, even if, so it is still high, and we need storage system also for compensate such forecasting error. So how to classify the storage system? Storage systems are generally classified according to two dimensions. So we have here the time or the capacity, and here we have the power. So here we have energy, we can say, and here we have the power. If you classify the storage system according to these two criteria, you can select or identify three applications for storage system. We have a storage system for power quality, we have a storage system for bridging power, and we have a storage system for energy management. So for power quality are technology which have not so high power, charging power, discharging power, so few kilowatt or different hundred or few megawatts. and they charge or discharge for some seconds, some minutes, or some hours. So they are small system, I would say. On the other side, for energy management, we are talking on very large systems which are able to store a lot of power for a long time, hours, also days. And such the technology that are able to do that are the classic pump hydro storage technology, which we have a lot of pump hydro system around Europe. We have some compressed air storage system. One is in Germany. We are planning an adiabatic compressed air storage system. Of course, we have also hydrogen, and we have seen last time how hydrogen will be used in the coming years. We have also some batteries like flow battery, NAS batteries, and lithium battery. This last time they are also covering energy management. For power quality, we have a superconducting magnetic energy storage system. We may have flywheels, we have batteries, of course, or we have supercapacitors, and they are mostly used for the system operator to compensate, for example, to support the frequency or to support the voltage of the net. The bridging power are the technology that use large power plant like nuclear power plant or like a coal power plant for starting the power plant. So you know that a power plant needs a lot of energy for pumping, for example, the water. And if the power plant is not connected or is not a generic electricity, takes the energy that it needs for startup from the battery. And that such application is called bridging power. And here, most of battery are used, so most of technology is the lead acid battery or lithium-ion battery. Once that we have classified the technology, or we say that some technology are able to be used for power application, other only for energy application, some of them for both. So we have, for example, NAS battery, which can be used for both technology. We have pump hydro, which is only used for the energy application, or compressed air storage system, which can be used only for energy application, and so on. What is important for storage system? There are many indicators which may be considered if you are planning or if you are choosing storage system. So which technology is the best one? How can I choose the technology which is the best for my case? So of course, you should consider what is the power sides that the technology at the moment are sold in the market. You should consider the energy capacity that can be stored inside the technology. You should use the efficiency. I said to you before, if you charge the system with 100 units of energy, you will never have back 100 units of energy because some of them is lost. For the economic application, you need also to understand how long the system will work. So the lifetime, and the most important for the investment is how much it costs. So here you see different technologies, which at the moment are mature, I will say, that you can find, you can buy on the market, and with different power range, different energy capacity, which is metered as time, discharging time, and the efficiency that they have, as well as the lifetime and the total cost. So I would say that in the last years, the lithium-ion, so it's definitely cheaper as is depicted here. We are talking, so definitively cheaper lithium-ion battery as what is in this table. For the other technology, more or less is not changed too much. So as I said to you before, one of the most used technology is the pump hydro. The pump hydro considers a two reservoir. So between the two reservoirs, we have a pump, which works as pump. Is the water is, if the system is charging, so it takes the power from the lower reservoir and pump up to upper reservoir, or works as turbine if the system is discharging and the water flows through the pipelines and goes to the lower reservoir. So in the charging phase, the system consumes electricity and stores electricity in form of gravitational energy. In the discharging phase, the gravitational energy is converted into electric energy, and the turbine feed network. So this, and such a technology is very is the most used technology worldwide. As I said to you before, maybe someone is writing here. I don't know. It's for me. Okay. As you see here, if I'm charging 100, so if I'm charging, for example, 100 units of electricity, at the end, what I can discharge is something like 84.5, 70% what I have given in input. Because I have losses on the transformer, I have losses on the motor, I have losses on the pump, I have losses, fluid dynamic losses, and this is the charging phase. On the discharging phase, I have similar losses. So at the end, what I can give to the network is 70% what I have taken from the network. And you see also here the equation, how to calculate it. So in the last years, the trend is to increase the energy density. So the energy density is given from this equation here, which depicts the difference between the two reservoir, upper and lower reservoir, multiplied with the gravitational constant. So higher is this difference. Higher is the energy capacity that the system can store. And so you see how the systems change. So how the new projects are try to increase the energy density of the system. What is important to say that these new projects are mostly in Asia or in the South America, because in Europe we don't have any more places where to install pump hydro storage system. And also the acceptance of population is not so high. What is new in Japan, you see, they have done a new system in which the sea is used as lower reservoir, and then on the island, in which case it is an island, they have done an upper reservoir between the sea and this upper reservoir. There is some channel here, which the power flows. In that case, we have salt water and not fresh water, and as you see, the costs are larger, so are higher than in the case of conventional pump hydro systems. Another technology which is going to capture a lot of attention is the compressed air storage system. What we have? We have a compressor which is driven by the motor. The motor takes electricity from the network. The compressor takes the air from the ambient, compresses. The compressed air is cooled, and then the cooled compressed air is stored inside caverns. Generally, they are salt caverns. This is a charging phase. In the discharging phase, compressed air, which is stored here, goes to the turbine. We have here a turbine. It is burned together with natural gas, increases the temperature, and the compressed air with higher temperature, because we have a combustion, expanded inside the turbine. The turbine drives a generator, and the generator feeds the network. This system is more or less 40 years old. It's not new. And it is not a 100% energy storage system, because we use fuel here. In the last time, we are investigating a new system, which is called advanced adiabatic compressed air storage system. What you see here is a pilot idea of the Adele project, which maybe will be installed near Magdeburg in Germany. And the difference is that we have the compressors, we have the turbine like before, but we don't cool anymore. So we cool the compressed air, but the energy, the heat that we have is stored inside two thermal storage system. So it's not released like here on the ambient, but we store the thermal energy that we have during the compression phase. So then the air cooled goes to the cavern, and when we want to discharge, the compressed air increases its temperature going through the thermal storage system without burning any fuel, and then goes to the turbine. So such a system is 100% storage system. We don't burn any fuel, but of course we have some problems mostly on the thermal storage system, because with the temperature that we need to reach are about 600 Celsius degree, and the materials that may be used for storing for long time thermal energy at that temperature should be different from the material that we use today for storing heat, like oil. For example, today we use oil or hot water, but in this case, they are thinking to use some ceramic materials, and is not sure if such materials can be used for 20 years. So the lifetime should be at least 20 years. Therefore, the designer, they are still considering to use other materials for the thermal part. But anyway, in Germany, we are taking into consideration this new technology. Another technology which uses mechanical energy for storing electricity is the flywheels. I think you know what is a flywheels, because all the conventional cars, they have near the engine and flywheels, which is used for better compensate the alternative movement of the pistons into rotative movement. So, and flywheels is a disc, maybe heavy or maybe light, which rotate around an axis. The energy that you can store depends on this equation. So it depends on the dimension of the system, how large, how big is the system, and depends on heavy the system is, and what is this speed. So larger, so faster the disk rotates, you can save more, you can store more energy. There are so two kinds, we can split this. There are two kinds of flywheels technology. We have low speed technology, which run up to 10,000 revolutions per minute. And we have high speed flywheels, which can run up to 100,000 revolutions per minute. Of course, if you have a disk which rotates at 100,000 revolutions per minute, you cannot do it with steel, because the steel, the materials, cannot resist at this stress which such a high speed may give. Therefore, for high speed, actually they are used carbon fiber based materials. So they are very light, but you can rotate it at a very high velocity. For conventional, I would say, flywheels, we can use the steel materials, but also the velocity should be smaller. So as electrochemical technology, I know that everybody knows what is a battery, and battery is more or less done by two electrodes, which are so they are connected through an electrolyte. Generally, the electrolyte is in liquid form, but not always. You can also have an electrolyte which is solid. Between the two electrons, we have a membrane. The membrane works like a filter, which allows to go through to the other side of the cell some particular materials or electrons, and avoid that other materials can go through the other part. So we know the batteries are more or less more than 150 years old. Of course, what we have introduced in the last years, new electrons, new materials, new membranes, and new electrolyte. Generally, we have two kinds of electrochemical storage system, but the most used that we use at the moment are the lead-acid, nickel-cadmium, lithium-ion, and sodium-sulfur technology. Some of them we will see here. You see, very important for the battery, mostly if they are used also for mobile application, is the specific, so the energy density, which is measured in watt hour per kilogram. So it's important because if you use it for electric cars, for example, then you don't want to transport a lot of weight with you. Okay, it's not only very important how much the system weighs, but it's also important which temperature the system is operated. You see that some lithium-ion battery, the performance of the lithium-ion battery depends on the temperature in which the battery is located. Lower the temperature is, in this case minus 20 Celsius degree, lesser is the energy that the system is able to store and to charge and discharge. The energy is the surface under this curve here. Increasing the temperature, you see that increases also the energy capacity that the system is able to store. Of course, you cannot operate at very high temperature because then you have also other problems which are connected with operating the temperature at higher temperature with us, what is given here. Second important aspect is that how you operate the system. So you see that if you charge and discharge the system, you charge at 100% of its physical capacity, and you discharge at its 0%, so you make the system empty, the lifetime will be, I will say, relatively small. If you charge the system at its 60% of physical capacity, you see that the lifetime of the system increases. If you shorten the capacity that you charge and discharge, you increase the lifetime of the battery. And this is very important because increasing the lifetime, you can have a higher payback time, or you can shorten the payback time of your investment. And this is characteristic of almost all electrochemical storage systems. Very important or very particular is the high temperature NAS battery. In that case, we have that the electrodes, we have two kinds of electrodes, sodium and sulfur, and we have an electrolyte which is solid, and beta aluminum ceramic. Such a kind of battery works at a very high temperature. Therefore, they are called high temperature battery. So the operating temperature is at 300, 350 Celsius degree. And that temperature, we have a molten sodium, which is the electrode. And such kind of battery are very good because they are able to be operated both as energy management as well as for power applications. So you see here, there are at the moment just one company which is able to build such storage system, which is the Japanese NGK. And yeah, this technology is good because it's very flexible. So you can use both for power application as well as for energy management application. You see here an example from how to operate the storage system. So you see that when you are charging, the temperature increases. When you are discharging, the temperature increases. When you are charging the system, the temperature decreases. But the operating temperature is higher than 300 Celsius, so 300 Celsius degree, as you see on the diagram.
Sorry, Theo, to interrupt. We just a little run out of time.
So I show you just the last question, the last point, just about economic, and so because I think it is the most important part for you. How much they cost? So here they are selected different technologies which we may take in consideration. You have the cost for the power capacity and the cost for the energy capacity. So you can see by yourself. What is important is how much costs to store 1 megawatt hour of electricity using different technologies. One of the most important parameters that affect the cost of storing is the full load hour. So how many hours I operate the storage system per year. Increasing the full load hours decreases the storage cost of storing 1 megawatt hour. So sorry, because I could show you a lot of slides, but yeah, I'm finished. If you have some question, I can answer.
Thank you. These last two slides would be my questions because you showed the summarization table of the different storage technologies, but I missed the investment cost or the return of investment, or what you showed is how much is for 1 megawatt. But
so you have to, if you are investing, if you are considering to use storage system, you have to first of all specify for which kind of application you want to use your storage system. Once that you know the application, then you select the technology, which may be better. It may be on flywheels if you need to support the grid. It may be on battery or hydrogen if you need to store the electricity for a long time. Of course, depending on the technology, the cost may be very different. You see here, so the cost depends always on how much power I have to store for how much time. And this is the capacity of energy, which is here. So, and then the application. So if you look, we have done some different study case. Depending on the application, we have cost which range between 5 and 25 cents per kilowatt hour, euro. Or if we are making a load leveling application, if we are storing for long term the storage, the energy, then we may have that, for example, that some technology like hydrogen for long-term application may be more competitive than the compressed air. If we are making peak shaving, then we have, for example, NAS battery. They are already today competitive with the pump storage system, which is the cheapest one in terms of operating cost, not in terms of investment cost. So the answer is you need to identify the application, you need to select the technology, you need to calculate the investment cost, you need to estimate the operative cost, and then you have to take the decision which technology should be used for you.
so it's not a simple choice.
Yeah, of course, you need to make an take into consideration different criteria, of course. But we have done many different studies on it, so it's not so complicated, Veronica. Maybe there is not time now to explain you how to do it, but so complicated it's not.
Yeah, and what you want to use it, I guess. It's okay. Thank you. It's I'm thinking so many questions, but I guess I need to learn a little bit more about this subject. And
Yeah.
I will from you. Just I don't want all the others keep it. So if no one else has any question, I would like to ask Silvio to present the development of energy communities.
Yes, thank you. Maybe Pio, if you can stop sharing, I can share mine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so my presentation will be very different because we are going back to policies. And okay, I will provide a presentation about energy communities. So just some insights and legislative framework, and then some pilot initiative running in Piedmont. And so maybe Veronica, we can make a deal, just respect a little bit the timing. I can take 12 minutes, not more, and maybe you can just give me a sign when it's 10 minutes. Okay, so when I have 2 minutes left, just to respect the timing for the presentation. Okay, let's go. So I'll start with a very brief introduction to the directives that are introducing the energy community concept. We have two of them. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it, but we have two directives which are speaking about energy communities. One is related to renewables, and one is related to internal electricity market. And so in the European legislative framework, we speak about REC, renewable energy communities, or CHAC or SAC, I don't know in English, citizen energy communities. So here prepared a table where we can see some similarities or differences that we have in this different concept of energy communities. All of these two directives are still to be transposed by member states in their own legislative framework, which will happen in most of the member states, or it should happen next year. At the beginning of next year, these directives should be implemented. So if we speak about renewables or citizen energy communities, we say that the legal entity is always based on open and voluntary participation, and we have quite similar situation for legal entity. For renewables, we have members and shareholders which control the community, and what is important is that they should be in the proximity of the renewable energy project, and this is what is mainly the difference between the two energy community concepts in terms of legal entities. So there is a requirement of proximity for the renewable energy communities. Members, they can be natural persons, small and medium enterprises, local authorities, and of course, municipalities. If we look at the purpose, both of them pay more attention on environmental and economic and social benefits. Both of them are not or should not be focused on financial profits. Okay. What is the difference between them about the energy is that renewables operates any time of renewables, so we can speak about electricity and also thermal renewables when we deal with renewable energy communities. Whereas for citizen energy communities, we speak about only electricity, which can come from renewables, but also from traditional sources. So what are they entitled to do? They, generally speaking, they can produce, consume, store, and share energy. Okay, this is common for both them. But for the citizen energy community, we have also the key difference, the key aspect of the possibility to distribute energy, which is not possible for the renewable energy communities. And so now, as I said, member states should introduce the two concepts in their national legislative framework, transposing the directives, and they should in this way also remove the barriers for the development of the communities. They should provide a sound cooperation with DSOs in order to let these communities to start to be implemented, and they should create an environment that is fair, proportionate, transparent, and without discriminatory treatment for the communities. What we can say about the citizen energy communities is that since they can also act as DSO, let me say, so as distributors, they should be financially responsible for the imbalances they may cause, and they should also can also operate a distribution network. So This is a very short overview of the two concepts that we have in front of us, and that we will see in the next year, starting in most of the countries. And if I go back to my regional situation, to the Piedmont region, my government body issued a law in 2018, anticipating the introduction of the Renewable Energy Community Directive, with the aim to promote the carbonization of the energy, the regional energy system, and promote the production of renewables and the energy efficiency in final energy consumption. These were the main goals of the law. And with this law, we enable the creation of energy communities as entities with private and public members, without any lucrative purposes, and assigning to municipalities a key role for their creation. And as I said, the law that we issued is based on the fact that the municipality should play a key role. They should be the coordinator of the energy community. They can have also a role of supervision, since they can promote the establishment of community and being part of them, but also promote the establishment of energy community without being part of it, or taking part of existing energy communities. But in a nutshell, they should lead in a way, and should have the coordination of the community according to our law. And they should, whenever energy community is starting, they should prepare a kind of energy balance of their own installations and consumers, and have a strategy. And this strategy should deal with the increase of the use of renewables, but also should deal with energy efficiency. So what we can say is that we create a kind of concept that can be a little bit in between the renewables and the citizen energy communities, because we have something in common with the renewable energy communities, and some other aspects with the citizen energy communities. And after that, the Piedmont region issued this law, other regions are following the examples, as you can see from these logos. And we will see as soon as the member state will transpose the directive, how much these regional laws will be still in place. Okay. But this will is something we can see in maybe next year. And we fixed some requirements for these energy communities. We have a requirement about electric contiguity. So the members of the energy communities must be part of the same electric area, and we defined it as the medium low voltage area under the same high medium transformer. This is a homogeneous area from electric point of view, according to the law. And also we fixed the minimum amount of electric consumption. This is 500 megawatt hours, in order to create some energy communities that are quite big, or can play a relevant role in the regional system. They should have a self-consumption of at least 70%, and at least 50% should come from local renewables. So for the membership, we should have more than one consumer, of course, but also more than one producer. And for the network, the community should be connected to a public grid network managed by DSO. So they cannot, also for our regional concept, they cannot operate as DSO. And we haven't fixed any requirements for the power plants, neither in terms of capacity installed, nor in terms of data of operation. And based on this law, some pilot initiatives have been launched, and it is with a bottom-up approach, let me say. So these are projects coming from the local authorities. Some of them are quite small, and these projects are supported by the region with some financial support and with a coordination activity that we are managing. And we are managing it inside a European project called SHREC. It's an Interreg project, but I think I don't have. Yeah, I go to my final slides. Thank you very much, Veronica. And so also at national level, something is happening. The Italian government anticipated the adoption of the Renewable Energy Directive with a pilot, let me say, initiative allowing the creation of energy communities with some very strict requirements. So we can have an energy community, but now only with renewables with a capacity below 200 kilowatt. And okay, there is this constraint to be connected to public grid network. And but the electric area is on the contrary of the original concept, is limited to low voltage grid. And so this is limiting quite a lot the possibility to have a large, let me say, energy community. And if we speak about collective self-consumption, this is limited only to the same building. And also the member states launched some incentives for 20 years, which are quite attractive for the collective self-consumption, which is this concept only for condominium, is 100 euro per megawatt hour, whereas for energy communities, it's 110 euro megawatt hour. So this is my final slide. I really rushed a bit, but I wanted to provide this overview of the situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was interesting. But you are doing usually in local level, yes, in the energy communities, because it should be not in the region.
No, it's of course at the local level, the energy communities, but of course as region we are supporting them from different point of view, and with some measures. We are trying to stimulate the creation of these energy communities, even though these are just pilot projects nowadays, because the legislative framework is not stable yet, let me say, and so we should have a look at what happened next year to have a clear picture.
Yeah. Next year, hopefully, we will have some pilot project here in Hungary as well. But so I think everyone will be happy to share some advice. Okay, if no one else has any question, thank you very much for all the presentation and everyone who listened to it. Sorry about the delay that we run out of time, but it was so interesting, all of the presentation, that I didn't want to stop it. And I'm sure if we will have questions, we can ask later. So we will share all the slides, and it will be on YouTube and our homepage, or the presentation and this webinar as well. So we can watch back again. So thank you again, and have a nice afternoon.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.